Hello everyone, Vic here with another video talking about the Halloween series. Today I'm comparing Michael Myers from Halloween Original Part 1, 1978 versus Michael Myers from Halloween 2, 1981. We have Nick Castle versus Dick Warlock. Compare and contrast the two characters, the two actors, and also ask which one would win in an all-out battle royal between the two. If you locked them both in a room, who's coming out with their mask intact, ready to go kill some more people in Haddonfield, and who's in the room out for the count. We're going to talk about all of that. But first, if you do enjoy these videos, please subscribe. And also in the comments, please leave some feedback. Any ideas you have about Halloween videos or any horror type videos just in general, feel free to leave feedback. So let's talk about Nick Castle in the original Halloween. Well, the shape in which all future shapes would be compared. Nick Castle probably always ends up number one on most lists. When you see lists that are ranking all the Michael Myers, the favorite always seems to be Nick Castle playing Michael Myers in the original. Is he actually the best? I don't know. I think probably so, but I also think that coming first sometimes is better than being the best, because you come first, you set the standard, and everything gets compared to you. And also, there's always such a not a blind nostalgic love, but definitely a nostalgic pull towards ranking the first thing always the best. Now, in terms of the Halloween franchise, the original Halloween actually as a movie is much better than all the sequels. I feel like, even as a huge lover of Halloween 4, I would never say Halloween 4 is a better movie than the original Halloween. So, but the pull towards the first always being the best is there in a lot of different franchises, a lot of different things, a lot of things you experience in life. The first is never the worst. But I do think that Nick Castle set a very high standard for Michael Myers. He's perfect in terms of his movements. I have to say that the way Nick Castle moves as Michael Myers in the original Halloween is almost like a cat. He's here 1 second, gone the next second. Almost seems to appear in multiple places at once, always stalking in the shadows very carefully, very quietly, and then moves with a certain grace. I know that Nick Castle wasn't actually given any specific direction in terms of like what to do with the movements. I mean, probably just the idea of like, hey, keep it natural, whatever. And you could make an argument that he just moves like a regular guy, but I don't know. Something about the ease and sort of the calmness in which Michael Myers moves in the original just makes me feel like we're watching a humanized, evil blank slate in character. Always in the background, always in the shadows. And then, of course, how the mask looks on Nick Castle is a huge advantage. The mask fit makes a big difference, as we'll see in some of the sequels. So sometimes the mask can fit very awkwardly over somebody. Even the same mask over a different head can come up with a different shape, as we'll talk about in a few minutes. But everything seems just to work perfectly right in that original Halloween with Nick Castle as Michael Myers. Now, in contrast, let's talk about Dick Warlock. Dick Warlock, who plays Michael Myers in Halloween 2. Dick Warlock, who was a stuntman in Hollywood. A lot of times for these roles, we saw it in the Friday the 13th series as well. The natural inclination was to have a stuntman play Michael or Jason, because under the mask, they can handle stunts, they can do different things. It's just a good way to go. I mean, Kane Hodder, of course, was a stuntman as well. Dick Warlock, after getting the role of Michael Myers, he then went back and watched the original Halloween. He wasn't like some huge fan of the movie. He got the role and said, "Let me do my research." And according to Dick Warlock, watching the movie, he didn't quite pick up on like how to walk like Michael. Nothing he was seeing in the early parts of the movie really inspired him to kind of pick up on that. But he really took from that scene where at the very end, Michael's in the room, passed out on the ground after Laurie, after trying to get into the closet to get Laurie. Laurie, of course, stabbed him. Michael on the ground. Michael raising up, doing that classic sit-up like The Undertaker. Michael getting up and then walking towards Laurie slowly, and then eventually in the hallway choking her. If you think about that slow walk that Michael does in that scene, it does very much inform what Dick Warlock was going to do with Michael in Halloween 2. It all makes sense now. We think about the difference between Michael walking in Halloween 1 and Michael walking in Halloween 2. It's easy to be like, oh, Dick Warlock just did a completely different interpretation of Michael Myers. But it makes sense when I see, oh, he watched that scene of Michael walking that way and he said, hey, that's what I'm going to do with Michael. And that makes perfect sense. Um, the mask on Dick Warlock's head. Well, I guess Deborah Hill had the same mask from Halloween 1 under a bed somewhere. So when they went to make Halloween 2, she breaks out the mask, hands it over to Dick Warlock. He puts it over his head. It's the same mask, but of course, having a different sized head, the mask just looks completely different on Dick Warlock. It looks like a different mask, thus making it look like a different Michael Myers. If you watch Halloween and then watch Halloween 2, it doesn't look like the same Michael Myers because the mask, even though it's the same exact mask, just fits very awkwardly over Dick Warlock's head. But I don't even want to say awkwardly. It's only awkward when you compare it to Halloween 1. The truth is, Michael Myers, the face with that mask, it does have a cool look in Halloween 2. I have no real problems with it. It's a very cool look. So we have a different look on the mask, and we have a very slow moving Michael Myers in Halloween 2. Now, if Michael Myers walking in Halloween 1 is pretty natural, cat like, pretty sneaky, the walk in Halloween 2 is almost feeling like a military minded, somewhat robotic, a little bit slower. Um, what's the word I could use to describe Dick Warlock in Halloween 2? I think slow and brooding are the immediate words that come to mind when you're thinking about Dick Warlock in Halloween 2 as Michael Myers. Military style walking, robotic in their movements, very slow. Michael Myers is taking his damn time in Halloween 2. And that's okay because I think that, again, if we're looking at that scene from Halloween 1 where he's following up behind Laurie, there is some consistency there that I can appreciate for sure. So, okay, now who's better though? Who did a better job about Michael Myers? Who was the definitive one? I've seen some comments in past videos where there's some hardcore Dick Warlock fans that really do think that Dick Warlock encompassed Michael in a way where he became the essential Michael Myers. And I don't have a problem with that. I mean, if that's your interpretation, if you watch both movies and you feel like, okay, this better defines Michael, more power to you. I still give the edge to Nick Castle as Michael Myers in Halloween 1. I still do think the fit of the face is the most iconic look, mask-wise, on Nick Castle's head. I still think that there's so many great shots of Michael Myers in the shadows when he's carrying Annie's body, his silhouette. All those things are so creepy when Tommy looks out the window and just sees Michael staring across the street at him. All those things are just like more iconic to me than Dick Warlock in Halloween 2. Now, that said, their characterization. What's different about Michael Myers in Halloween 1 versus Michael Myers in Halloween 2? Let's get into the mindset of Michael Myers. What's going on with Michael in Halloween 1? Well, he's escaped from Smith's Grove. He's driven a decent way. He's killed, well, at this point, one person heading into Halloween in Haddonfield. And now he's spending the day slowly taking his time, stalking Laurie and her friends. We have Laurie, we have Annie, we have Linda, and he's stalking them all throughout the day. This is a very, very, very patient version of Michael Myers. This is a Michael Myers who cannot be bothered to rush. This is a Michael Myers who's set on one thing. And this is also Michael Myers who is not really knife happy. Now, what do I mean by that? I mean that Michael Myers in future renditions of the series, yeah, normally he kills people that are sort of in his way as part of his plan. They have to be removed. Sometimes they're an obstacle or they're part of a friend group or it just makes sense to kill them. But also Michael is more likely to kill random people in the sequels. And in this original Halloween, it does feel like it would have taken a lot for Michael to go out of his way to kill somebody. He's more observing. He's more patient. When Tommy runs into him outside the school, I mean, first thing you could say, maybe Michael just doesn't kill kids, period. Maybe that's the explanation. But he doesn't kill Tommy. At no point in the movie does he think to go after Loomis. He's just pretty set on focusing on Laurie and Annie. And then when Linda and Bob come, unfortunately, they're just wrong place, wrong time. And they end up being an obstacle that Michael has to remove. But no, Michael's really not a full-blown slasher in this original Halloween. I mean, he's focusing on one or two people, but you really don't picture him going on a killing spree like what happens in the future movies. So this is a more docile, patient, to himself Michael. I mean, the entire day he's driving around, lost in deep thought. This is 1978. There's no podcast he's listening to. So it's an interesting version of Michael for sure. And then even when he goes to kill somebody like an Annie or even like Laurie, he's just very methodical and patient, very much like enjoying the process of enjoying the process of stalking his prey before the killing. It seems like he's getting something out of just the chase versus the actual kill as well. So it's a different interpretation than Michael in Halloween 2. Now, what changed for Michael mindset-wise between Halloween 1 and Halloween 2? What explains a dramatic turn of personality in Halloween 2? Very simple. He got shot 7 times at the end of Halloween. That seemed to awaken the beast. That seemed to turn Michael from docile into straight killer, man. I mean, Halloween 2 Michael does not play around. We see him kill that girl, the neighbor girl, at the beginning of Halloween 2, really just out of pure frustration. This was the kind of kill that didn't really exist in the original Halloween. Michael going out of his way to walk to this girl's house, hide in plain sight where she should have been able to see him, but that's another point. Jump up and kill her in the most bloody fashion way possible. Now we know that the behind the scenes reason is because by the time Halloween 2 came out, slashers had taken on new expectations in terms of body count and gore. They had to be upped. The suspense and lack of gore in the original Halloween maybe wasn't going to fly for Halloween 2 because of the standards, what was going on with the horror genre. But in character, when Loomis shot Michael, he freaking just set off a whole new version of Michael, one that didn't give a damn, was going to kill as many people as possible for the rest of the night. This is a version of Michael that I think more lines up with future versions of Michael, where it takes on more of a traditional slasher route, I would say. But interestingly enough, even though Michael is enraged and crazy and more willing to kill as many people at this hospital as possible, he's also just very, very slow moving. Again, something about getting shot in character made Michael a robotic walking, slow moving. Anybody in a chase scene can get away from this guy given an opportunity. You can't imagine any scenario where this version of Michael runs or jogs or moves fast, because think about that chase scene at the end of Halloween 2 with him and Laurie. Laurie is the one he wants. She is the person he spent all day and all night now trying to get. And she is still sort of half comatose, still moving pretty gingerly, but able to move at a decent speed. And here's Michael just walking as slow as humanly possible to get the one person that he's truly after. I mean, there's not even an effort to speed walk. Come on, Michael, you can't move a little bit faster? I mean, you can't imagine him catching anybody in this scenario, but it's okay. It's fine. I mean, this version of Michael being so patient in terms of his movements, I think it does make it even more badass when he does kill somebody. So yeah, it's just two different characters. I know it's the same night, but you have an enraged Michael killing everybody at the hospital, but also just moving as slowly as possible to do it. Now, the other question is, who actually wins in a battle between Halloween Michael and Halloween 2 Michael? I know it's the same character. It's just we're saying earlier in the day Michael versus later at night Michael. So technically it's just the same person fighting the same person. But they're different enough that I think if you put them in the same room, I have no doubt about it. Even if you prefer Nick Castle as Michael Myers, Dick Warlock's Halloween 2 Michael is whooping that ass and coming out of the room not scratch-free. I mean, Michael does have some strength from Halloween 1. The way he lifts Bob up with one hand. He had that superhuman strength. They did take the 6 bullets and get and run, but Halloween 2 Michael clears Halloween Michael in terms of just them in a straight combat situation. I think Halloween 2 Michael comes to that room and we never see Halloween 1 Michael again. In terms of the interpretation of the character, which one do I enjoy more? I still give the overall award has to go to Halloween Michael. Okay, but anyways, these are my thoughts. Give me your thoughts on Halloween 1 Michael versus Halloween 2 Michael. Do you prefer what Nick Castle did in Halloween 1, or do you prefer Dick Warlock's interpretation of Halloween 2? And who do you think would win if they actually were locked in a room with only one man able to get out? Who would come out in an actual battle? If you like this video, again, let me know. I'm thinking about doing Halloween 4 versus Halloween 5 Michael and Halloween H2O Michael versus Halloween Resurrection Michael. Basically having the same timeline version of Michaels going up against each other, both the actors' performances, and then also just looking at who would actually win in a battle. Until next time, you guys take care.